Thanks for joining us online today. If you've been impacted by this ministry and have a story to share of how God is working in your life, we would love to hear it. Send an email to amen@anchorpoint.tv. Also, you can help bring messages just like this one to others who need to hear the hope and the love of Jesus by investing today at anchorpoint.tv/give. Now, we hope you enjoy today's message.
I had a chance to meet you. My name is Todd, and I get to pastor this place along with my wife Avery, my Amen corner down here. And we get the privilege to do this. And man, I'm expectant this year. I think I really do think this could be your year, you know. And before we dive in, we're starting a brand new series of messages today called From Here to There. This could be your year to take notes. Some of you have been coming for years and you have never taken notes. Look at the person beside you and say, this is your year. If you see somebody not taking notes today, they don't love God. Just know that. Just know that up front. I'm kidding. But we do have these binders. They are free at guest services. Stop by and get them. And those note sheets fit. Because we have people all the time. It's like, I go and try to find a binder for those notes. And they don't exist at Office Depot. That's because we got them right here. And May at the end of 2020, your binder looked like this binder. Look at all that good information right there. So I do want to challenge you, grab one of these, grab those message notes. Maybe God will speak something to you through what I say, and jot those things down as we kind of launch in. I love New Year's and I love new series. And I think New Year's always positions you for a restart and always positions you for a second chance or positions you for possibilities. In fact, let me ask a question before we kind of dive in. How many of you are resolution people? You raise your hand, you make resolutions? All right, all 5 of us, great. How many of you are not resolution people? All right, and you're kind of proud about it. Okay, I don't know that I would be. I ain't changing nothing, right? Anyway, I want to try to help you. Since none of you are resolution people, I feel like I got the right crowd. Because maybe you aren't making resolutions, but here's what I figured out. You are making choices. And you are making choices based on where you want to end up. In fact, Pastor Craig Groeschel, largest church in America, says this: everyone ends up somewhere. Few people end up there on purpose. And kind of my goal over our next 4 week together, and really my goal over our time today, over our short, limited time today, is to get you to shift your focus a little bit, to focus on what you need most and not just what you want now. In fact, that's the kind of the shift you got to focus on what you need most, not what you want now, because most of us want things now. I want things now. That's why all of us started working for Walmart and Target and going to the self-checkout line. Come on, that's right, because you want it now. You ain't waiting in that line for that cashier no more. And so I want us to quit focusing on what we want now and seek God for what we need most. And to kind of launch us into this, I want to look at Exodus chapter 3, and I want to challenge you. May this be the year that you take notes, and may this be the year that you bring a Bible to church. Maybe you didn't bring it today, but I want to challenge you, man. If not for the whole year, for the month of January, let's dive into God. We're going to do some Bible study. We're going to believe God for great things, and I really want us to press into this as a church, what we call 21 Days with God, and we'll explain what all that means for everybody as we kind of dive through this. We'll pick up in Exodus chapter 3. In Exodus chapter 3, the nation of Israel is enslaved by the nation of Egypt. The nation of Egypt is the most powerful nation on the planet at this point in time. In Exodus chapter 3, God has chosen Moses, Prince of Egypt, the whole thing, Disney, let my people go, Moses, to be the deliverer through which he would deliver his people. Moses says, that's a great plan, God. I'm just not the right guy for the job, but God's not really concerned if you think you're the right person for the job, because he's always the right God no matter the job, okay? So that's kind of where all that's happened, and he's getting ready to send Moses, and these are the instructions that God sends with Moses. Verse 16, we'll throw it on the screen. Everybody read that first word with me. 1, 2, 3, go. Some of you, that's all you need for 2020 right there. That needs to be, you've been stuck where you are for too long. You've been there way too long, and you just need to go. Wherever your there is, you need to get moving. God is a God of movement. In fact, 2/3 of God's name is go. So go, Moses, and assemble the elders of Israel and say to them, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, appeared to me. And here's what God said: I have watched over you And I have seen what has been done to you. Man, that's a word for somebody in this room. Some of you thought God didn't see what happened in 2019. God says, I see what has been done to you. I see the hurt. I see the loss. I'm not as distant as you would think. I see what has been done to you in Egypt. And I have promised to bring you up out of misery in Egypt into the land of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, the Jebusites, and the most feared of all, the Cellulites, in January. It's the TFV. That's in the Hebrew. Some of y'all trying to get rid of them. Into a land flowing with milk and honey. That's code for this is good stuff. This is good land. The elders will listen to you, Moses. Then you and the elders will go to the king of Egypt and say, the Lord has said to the God of the Hebrews, has said, he has met with us. Let us take a 3-day journey into the wilderness to offer sacrifices to the Lord our God. But I know that the king will not let you go unless a mighty hand compels him. So I will stretch out my hand. For the battle is the Lord's. Moses, you ain't doing this on your own. For the battle, it's the Lord's. I will stretch out my hand, and I will strike the Egyptians with all the wonders that I will perform. And after that, he will let you go. He will let you go. You're coming out. It's not going to be easy, but you're going to come out. You're going to go on the other side. And I'm going to use for a title today, this is going to be hard. This is going to be hard. Such an uplifting title on January 5th, 2020. This is going to be hard. I kind of stole it, though. I stole it from my son, Carter. This is one of his favorite sayings. But, Dad, this is going to be hard. And now here's the deal. It could be, Carter, explain to me quantum physics, or Carter, pick up your dirty clothes. It doesn't matter. Just whatever he doesn't want to do, right? It's going to be hard. Hey, I hope this is your year, like we said to each other. I hope it's your best year ever. But if it is, this is going to be hard. Everybody say that word with me, hard. 1, 2, 3, hard. This is going to be hard. In fact, there's 2 types of people here this morning. They were the resolution people, all 5 of us, and the rest of you losers. No, I'm just kidding. That's a joke. That's a joke. All these people who don't, there are the optimists here and the pessimists. The ones that are like, this is going to be my year. Things are changing. Everything is changing. And then there's pessimists here. I tried it for 30 years. Ain't nothing ever changed then, and it ain't going to change now. Aren't you a peach to eat dinner with? Yeah, God bless you. There's the motivated people and the miserable people. There are the Grahams and the Carters. I have 2. So Graham is 6, Carter is 9. Graham is the eternal optimist. Everything is positive in Graham's life. Carter, not so much. A couple years ago, Graham swallowed a marble. We were traveling. He's playing with the marble. Mom had told him not to put it in his mouth. And he goes, and like that, right? And I'm like, what did you do? He goes, I swallowed my marble. Carter's like, oh no, he's going to die. Avery's like, he's not going to die. You're just going to poop it out. And Graham's like, oh, okay. I'm like, stop crying like that. I said, Graham, are you okay, buddy? He said, yeah, when I poop it out, I'll just play with it then. May you be more like Graham this year. Yeah. Poop it out and play with it. Carter, no, he's going to die. It's going to be hard, though. Man, I'm not going to tell you 94% of people make resolutions, only 6% accomplish them. I'm not going to tell you that. I'm not going to tell you by next Sunday, January 12th. January the 12th, 50% of the people who make a resolution have stopped and given up. I'm not going to tell you that. I'm not going to use my time up here to tell you about a conversation with me and my wife where 2 days ago she says, what do you believe in God for in 2020? And do you have a word for 2020? Do you have a focus? I've given up on focus. I mean, I'm 40 years old. I ain't changed in 10 years and ain't going to change now. I ain't going to tell you I had that conversation. So I'm preaching to myself. I'm going to tell you there's a path from here to there, but it's hard. And everybody in this room has a there. Even if you're not a resolution person, you have a there, a place that you want to arrive at, an accomplishment you want to see happen, something you want to achieve, something you want to start, something you want to stop, something you want to finish, something you want to be different. We all have a there. And here's what I know. From here to there, on that plate, on the way from here to there, the harder it gets, the easier it becomes to settle. But I want to get this in your spirit today. Don't let the degree of difficulty be the deciding factor for your achievement or your lack of progress in your life. Because I found out usually when it's hard, it's valuable. And if it's valuable, it's hard. That's right. It's hard, but it's valuable. It's hard, but it's worth it. It's hard, but on the other side of it, it's going to be better. So I don't want my focus this year to be on the degree of difficulty. I want my focus to be on the God who is faithful even when it's hard. The God who is with me even when it's hard. The God who is present even when it's hard. The God who is on the journey from here to there when I focus on what I need most. So I want to give you three things today that can kind of help us on this journey and get us started for this year. The first one is this. If you're a note taker, jot it down. Number one, define there. If you can't define there, how are you going to know when you arrive there? In fact, I've been in ministry long enough now to know most people don't really have a there. They just don't want to be here. You ever been somewhere you don't want to be? The DMV. Come on, somebody. If you work at the DMV, God bless you. I won't be there. Yeah, maybe this happened over the holidays. You were at somebody else's house and people started fighting in front of you. Like, did that like a marriage fight? Anybody ever been in somewhere like your friends? Yeah, I remember I was a youth pastor. I got a couple invited me over. Hey, before I was married, I want to invite you over. I want to have dinner. So we get there. And you can just sense when there's tension. You know what I'm talking about? There's just tension. So I'm sitting down. She brings out the baked chicken and all that stuff. Just kind of tension. It kind of starts with a whisper fight. You ever had a whisper fight with your spouse? You ever had a whisper fight? You know what a whisper fight is. You're fighting, but you don't want your kids to. You're fighting. Don't you shut up right now. Told you about it. So they're over there just kind of whispering. They both go in the, there's always a cue when you're at somebody else. They both go in the kitchen. I kind of hear a little rustling. They come out. And when they come back to the table, it is full blown. He had showed up late and she was frustrated and all this stuff. And they blow up. She storms out. I'm sitting there and he looks at me and says, "Can you believe that, Pastor?" This chicken's good. I wanted to be anywhere but there. I would be in a room full of cats just be there. I don't want to be here. And a lot of us, that's our mantra. I don't want to be here. Now, we can't define there, but we don't want to be here. And I found out it is difficult to arrive at a destination you cannot define. And the first thing God says, we're going from here, Egypt, to there, the promised land. We're going from here, slavery, to there, freedom. We're moving from here to there. Look what it says. It says this, and I have promised, this is God saying, I promised to bring you up. Say it with me. I promised to bring you up out of the land of Egypt. We're leaving here and we're going into the what? Into the land. The land. I'm bringing you from here to there. I have a destination. I have a goal. I have a place. And I wonder if when that came to their ears, they wondered like what I thought when my wife asked me, what am I doing for New Year's? I'm like, nothing. Because, yeah, right. We're going from here to there. Yeah, right. You know why? Because they had been slaves for generations. Nothing had changed for generations. So really, time had beat the optimism out of them. Time had beaten the faith out of them. And they had like this slave mentality. Could we really get from here to there? And I've learned this. Any type of captivity always limits belief. When you've been held captive by addiction, it limits the belief that you really can be free. But maybe this is the year that you can be free. Maybe this is the year that you're not slave to a pill or slave to a bottle, that you're not limited by where you've been. Captivity always limits the belief, but I want to stir your faith no matter what you can't see. Don't let that limit the power of God in your life. You got to embrace the God factor. That's what I begin to preach to myself over the last couple of days. Because this is not I'm preaching the message I need, not how I feel. And I want to say, you know what? Nothing's changed in a couple of these areas of my life for a few years. And I jotted this phrase down. But with God, it can. I feel like I'm held captive and God wants me to be free, but with God, it can. I feel like I'm in slavery and I don't know how I'm going to get out, but with God, it can. I don't feel like I'm ever going to get over this loss or this hurt, but with God, it can. And when I began to say that, I had to know that God sees me, that God hears me. And when I know that there is a God in heaven that is attuned with my plight on earth, then I know that I can see beyond the present pain to the potential that He has. I know that I can see beyond my lack to his provision. I can see beyond my limitation to his ability. I know that with God, my best days are yet to come, and I'm not focused on where I'm at. I'm focused on where God wants to take me. Got to define there. So if you like extra notes, extra credit, these are for the A+ students, all right, the type A personalities. Here's 2 ways you can define there. Number 1, ask why. Now, why? I hate that question with my kids. Why? Dad, why? Because I said so. Boy, it's why. But it's a great question for adults. Let me ask you this. Here's a great question to ask. Why do you want to get there? Why do you want to get there? Why? Here's another. Why do you want to achieve that? What in you makes you want to, whatever it is for you. And we'll talk about how you define that and what that looks like. Ask yourself, wherever you want to see yourself, whatever it means, ask yourself why. Here's another one. Why is there worth it? Because the reality is, the reason many of us don't achieve and ever get there is ultimately it's not worth it. So you got to decide up front, why is there worth it? Because the number one mistake I've seen people make is they think it's going to be easy there. Well, when I get there, it's going to be easy there. When I grow up, I'm leaving Foley. Because when I move there, when you move there, you move with you. Let me let you in on a little secret. It's difficult there. Did you notice all these nations that were there? I'm bringing you into the land of all. There will be more battles there. Wherever you are, there will be more battles there. So don't get caught up with destination disease, because it is miserable to be focused on there, and when you get there, be dissatisfied. Ask yourself, why is it worth my effort? Here's another second thing, if you want to define there, before we move on, is you got to schedule your priorities. Where you end up is determined by your daily priorities. What you do every single day. And you cannot pray for God to change what you are unwilling to prioritize. Come on, I thought I'd get more than 5 amens on that one. Let me say it one more time. Let's try that again. You cannot pray for God to change what you are unwilling to prioritize. See, scheduling your priority is what keeps you focused in a world of distraction. And my fear is our desire outweighs our discipline of where we want to be. But I want to beg you that not be this year. I really don't care about all the health stuff and the diet stuff, but I really want you to lean into God in the next month. And I just want you to decide today, God, I'm going from here to there with you. I'm going, God, and I'm making a decision right now, God, whatever it takes, I'm willing to do. Whatever you ask, I'm willing to surrender, God. I decide, because I'm telling you, something will change in your heart and your mind when you decide, I'm not staying here, I'm going there, and I might not get there when I want. I might not get there how I want. I might not get there the way that I want, but God, I'm going there. Come on, if you're going there, say amen. Second thing is this, jot it down. I think you got to redefine progress. I think you got to redefine progress. Because ultimately, no matter if it's a health resolution, a family goal, a business thing, you want to see progress. You want to feel like you're moving forward. In fact, progress was one of Carter's, he's in 3rd grade, vocabulary words. They do the spelling sheets, and they have the vocabulary words, and usually they have a spelling test on Friday. So when I'm driving them to school on Friday, a lot of times we go over the spelling words and the vocabulary words, and one day it was like adventure. I'm like, Carter, what's adventure? And it's an exciting journey. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty good, Then he said, he had one called slumber. He said, Dad, what's slumber? I was like, well, we don't really use that word anymore unless you're a girl and you have a slumber party, but it's like sleep. And he had one called furious. I said, buddy, what's furious? He said, that's what Mom gets when I don't obey her. That's pretty good. Teacher gave you an F for that. I'd give her an F. That's pretty good. And then we had progress. I said, but I was reading lunch. I said, what's progress? He said, forward movement. And on the page, it said forward movement. And I went to Webster's Dictionary on my Google, and it said forward movement. And he said, Dad, is that right? I said, well, kind of. But I think that That's kind of misleading. How many of you have lived long enough to know that progress is not always a straight line? I told her, I said, you go tell that teaching lady, your daddy said. No, I didn't say that. I didn't say what I want to. Progress, it's not, look at it in the text. Look what it says in verse 19. But I know, this is God saying, but I know the king of Egypt, say those two words with me, will not. He will not let you go. Not only will he not let you go, from this point on, it will get worse for the nation of Israel for a time. Not only will he not let you go, but he's going to level up on you. Moses is going to show up dressed like Charlton Heston. Come on. And he's going to say, let my people go. And Pharaoh's going to go, nope. And by the way, you're a bunch of lazy people. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to make sure you're working really hard. And where we have provided material for you, you're going to have to get your own material. And you're going to have to make double the brick. And from then on, it gets worse. It gets horrible. In fact, one scholar said by the end of it, Egypt treated the animals better than the Israelites. And I love that song we sung. I'm gonna see a victory. I'm gonna see a victory. I've added a few lines to it. I'm gonna see a victory. Sometimes it's gonna feel like defeat. I'm gonna see a victory. Even when people turn their back on me. Oh, I believe I'm going to see a victory, but can I tell you in this moment, it didn't feel like victory. It didn't look like progress. When in this moment when Moses showed up, it got worse. It felt like failure. It felt like setback. But you got to get this. The harder it got for them, the closer freedom got to them. I want to tell you, when we leave here, this is going to be hard. 21 days is going to be hard. Accomplishing your goals and your resolution, it's going to be hard. But if you stay faithful when it feels like failure, you're going to be closer than you ever dreamed or imagined. In fact, I found out sometimes the closer I get, the further God feels. But I don't walk by my feelings. I walk by my faith. So I'm saying, God, grow my faith. God, stir my faith. God, develop my faith. Because the closer I get to his promise, the closer I get to deliverance, the closer I get to breakthrough, the closer I get to what I need, and I don't live for what I want. I'm moving closer. And see, in this season, you got to fight this. When it gets hard, you got to fight discouragement. I'm sure when it got harder, it felt like God was a million miles away when they slaved away in those mud pits. And that is the enemy's tool. Make no doubt about it. The enemy's tool is captivity. Sin is just captivity. Depression is just captivity. It's all captivity. And what the enemy will tell you in captivity is there's no way out. And his tool is discouragement. And when you're discouraged, when somebody shows up and starts preaching God's promises, and Moses shows up, and Moses got the choir and the organ, and Israel's amening him, and then it gets hard, in fact, when you're discouraged, you become deaf to God's promise of deliverance. But I got the cure. Can you believe that? I studied real hard, and I got the cure for discouragement. My sons taught it to me. When you're discouraged, you got to get close. You got to get close. Like when my sons are discouraged and fearful, you know what I do? I just pull them in close. Like if they wake up in the middle of the night, like with a nightmare or fear or whatever. They come in our room. If they go to the Avery side of the bed, she makes them sleep on the floor. If they come to my side of the bed, I pick them up and I put them right in there beside me. And I say, hey, it's going to be okay. Daddy's here. And I found out when I get discouraged, if I just get close to God, it just changes. So here's what I'm asking. We've done this every year for 10 years. If I'm your pastor, if this is your church, if you're a guest and you think, I might want this to be my church, I might want this to be my pastor, I'm asking you to join us on a 21-day journey. Everybody in the room. A 21-day journey, a 21 days with God. When you came in, you got a card. I want everybody in the room to pull it out. Even if you don't think you'll ever do it, I want you to pull it out. Pull it out. If this is your first year doing this or your 10th year, I don't care, but we're all going to do this together. And we're going to spend 21 days just drawing close to God. Because I'm telling you, it changes you. And the people who have tried this and done it, they know it changes you. And it's 3 components. The component number 1, going to throw it up there, we're going to fast. How many of you have fasted before as a believer? You fasted, okay? A lot of you, it's going to be your first time, okay? Now, fasting is simply this. Fasting physically helps you gain clarity spiritually, okay? So fasting is simply a spiritual discipline that denies my appetite to focus on God. That's what fasting is. Now, for me, this is why I fast. Fasting recalibrates the importance of God for me. That's what it does. Because you may be holy and righteous, but I have a tendency over the year, and especially around Christmas, to make things more important than God and kind of make my preferences more important. And this kind of recalibrates me that there's nothing in my life more valuable than meeting with God. And I don't care how important you are in this room or how much money you make. There is nothing more valuable to you in the next 21 days than meeting with God. So we're going to fast. What does that mean? We're going to give up something. And there's 3 types of fast. You pick the one you want to do. The first one we call a rotating fast. That is the fast on your card. You can see today. Today is day 1. Today is day 1. Everybody say day 1. Day 1. Today is day 1. Day 1, we're fasting dinner. So eat a big lunch, big boy. We're fasting dinner. Can I drink a protein shake? No, we're fasting. What about tofu? It's not real food. No, we're fasting. We're fasting dinner. Fasting dinner tomorrow, Monday, we're fasting lunch. And then we're fasting breakfast. Everybody look at day 4. Everybody look at day 4. Sun up, sun down. Huh? Get up at 6 a.m. and eat you something, Bubba. And then eat at 7. My goodness. Everybody look at day 5. Uh-huh. Some of y'all can't even pronounce that word. We're fasting media. Yeah, what kind? All. You better put a blanket over your TV on that day. You can. We're fasting. And if you've never fasted before, I would challenge you to try to do this to the best of your ability. It is what I call level 1 in the fasting world. It is very doable. It's hard, but let me tell you something. If it's not hard for you, you're not doing it right. Okay? So if you've done this for 5 years and you think it's easy, time to level up, baby. Hey, you need to challenge yourself, consult with your doctor, all that good stuff, but you need to challenge yourself. So the next one is a selective fast or a soul fast. A selective fast could be something like a Daniel fast. If you've ever heard that term, it comes from the book of Daniel. It's a vegetarian-style diet, and a lot of our staff have done that for several years for 21 days, and it's no meat, no sweet, no bread for 21 days. So if you think this is easy, come on, get you some. Get you some. It could be something like a soul fast is getting off social media for 21 days. Blasphemy. Last year, me and my wife cut the TV off. I mean, I don't know. It could be something that you need to get. It's not helping you. It's hindering you. You need to block out the distractions. Selective fast. Could be giving up caffeine. Selective fast. Yeah, I've done Daniel fast. I can do that. Okay, we didn't do a complete fast. What's a complete fast? Liquid only. 21 days. Liquid only. You pray. You consult God. You talk to your spouse. And you pick. And at the very least, just join us on this. You fast. Fast. And I can't explain it. But when you fast, you experience God in a way you can't any other way. When you fast, the Bible gets clearer, God's voice gets louder, and some of you think, God's going to speak to me, is it going to be audible? No, it's going to be louder than audible. It's going to be the voice of the Spirit of God, and He's going to lead you, and He's going to guide you. And then pull out this little card right here, pull out this little card. I think you got to define why you're fasting. People in the Bible, they fasted for clarity on decisions. They fasted for breakthrough in areas. Esther, when she was going to the king in the book of Esther, she fasted for favor. So you need to think about this the next few days and jot down and say, you know what? I'm fasting for the salvation of my son or my daughter. I'm fasting. Some of you parents, I'm fasting for God's favor on my kid's life. I'm fasting for God's protection. I'm fasting for this increase. I'm fasting for this outcome. And just tell God, and here's what I don't mean, don't misunderstand it. Because you write it on this card and you uphold all these things, God will move. Because for 3 years, I wrote down building, God moment, miracle moment. I got the cards in this Bible right here where for 3 years I believe God. And I don't know if it's going to take 3 years or 33 years, but if it's something you want from him, you petition the throne room of heaven and you believe him to move and you believe him to act on your behalf, because God is faithful and he has seen what has been done to you and he will remember his promises. Come on and say amen. Second area, we're going to read, because if you fast and don't read your Bible, you're dieting. Not a bad thing to diet, but that's not what we're after. We're after a meeting with God. So you're going to read one chapter a day. Today we're reading John chapter 1. We're going to spend 7 days with Jesus. 7 days with Jesus. 7 days with Jesus. And then the next 7, we're going to spend 7 days looking at the miracles of Jesus, believing God for the impossible, getting it in our soul, getting it in our heart. The last 7 days we're going to spend with the church, the New Testament church that was alive and active. And they didn't just go to church, they were the church to their society and their community. We're going to read and we're going to meet God in the pages of this book. If you want more faith, read. If you want more strength, read your Bible. And I want to challenge you for the next 21 days, get a real Bible. I'm cool with the e-version, but get you a tree version. That's what Pastor Ryan said. Get you a tree version. Get a Bible and meet with God. Look at it. Put your hands on it. Put your eyes on it and meet with God. The same Bible every day, meeting with God. The last thing we're going to do, we're going to pray. We're going to pray. Will, come on up. We're going to pray. Prayer invites God into your life. It invites God to show up. And I say this every year. I'm telling you, if you prevail in prayer, you can prevail in life. So we're going to pray every day. Everybody say every day. Every day. Everybody say every day. We're going to pray every day. Every day. How long are we going to pray? I don't care. 90 seconds or 90 minutes. I don't care. We're going to pray. And it tells, well, what are we going to pray? I'm glad you asked. Today, we're praying surrender. Well, when do I pray? When do I read? When you're supposed to be eating, you need to be reading. So dinner time, tonight, you need to grab your Bible, read your chapter, and pray. And we got to. All right, tomorrow night, every Monday night, the next 3 weeks, we're going to meet here as a church family and pray. Now, here's what I'm asking. If it's all possible, I want you to be here tomorrow night. 6 to 7. We'll get you in, we'll get you out. But we want to kick this whole thing off together as a family, and then we'll spend 2 more on the 13th and the 20th. We'll spend together in corporate prayer. And then the rest of the week, you'll be on your own. But one thing we're doing this year is every day. Everybody say every day. Every day. Even when you fast media, you can long on from this. Every day, you need to go like our Facebook page. Every day at 12:15, starting today. Pastor Ryan will be doing this today while I'm preaching the 11:30 service. We're going to go on Facebook Live. We're going to give you a little devotional based on the chapter. Our staff will be doing it. My wife, me, our whole staff. Today's Pastor Ryan's day. He's going to walk you through what a surrender prayer would look like, maybe what it would sound like, kind of help you on your journey. Kind of a little power lunch. So when everybody else is going to lunch, you're going to say, I can't go this week. You go to your car, and you're going to flip on Facebook, and there, a little inspiration. If you can't make it at 12:15, it'll stay up, and you can watch it at the end of the day. And we're going to begin to redefine what progress looks like. We're going to begin to say, you know what? I'm not there, but I'm making progress. Because I found sometimes messing up and not giving up is progress. I found trusting God is good, even when life isn't good, that's progress. I found out when I'm failing but not quitting, that's progress. I'm making progress every day. Even if I mess up, even if you miss a day, just pick right back up the next day. The last thing is this. I want you to make a commitment to grow here. Grow here. I want you to get there. I want to motivate you to get there. But tomorrow is January 6th and you will not be there. Wherever it is you want to go, you won't be there. So make a commitment to grow here. There's a famous quote that says, what got you here won't get you there. I think that's true, Terry. But what you learn here will make sure you're ready when you get there. So I'm going to make a commitment to grow here. Look what it says in Exodus chapter 1. I didn't read you this verse on purpose because we were in Exodus 3, long before Exodus 3. Look what it says. It says, now Joseph and all his brothers and all that generation died out, but the Israelites were exceedingly fruitful. They multiplied greatly. They what? Say it with me, church. They increased. Come on, will you stand with me all over this house? They increased. They grew. They grew. They went into Egypt as a family and they grew into a nation. They grew in number. They grew in skill. They eventually grew in slavery. They grew through oppression. They grew through the hardest. The king of Egypt, Pharaoh, threw everything he could throw at them, and they still grew. Can I tell you something? You can grow in chaos. You can grow in brokenness. You can learn and grow right where you are. So we're making a commitment. I'm growing here. Because if you get too consumed with there, you'll rob here of its potential. You'll rob here of an opportunity. There's an opportunity here to meet with God. There's an opportunity in this 21 days to refocus your life, to recalibrate what you want to see God do. There's an opportunity to focus on what you need, not what you want. And I am begging you, I'm imploring you, grow here. And God will meet you here. And God will do something in this season that He can't any other way. I'm going to grow here. You're here on purpose. Moses spent 40 years on the backside of a wilderness in the desert on purpose. He was a shepherd taking care of sheep, but he was just practicing to take care of God's people. What you see as insignificant today is really practicing for tomorrow. I'm going to grow here. Come on, if you're ready to step out in the 21 days and you don't know how it's going to end up and you're going to make every day, but if you're with me, I want you to, even if you're not a hand raiser, stretch both hands to heaven right now. If you're ready to grow,